Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream, everyone. We are about to go attack a big rat with our cheese on a stick. I think it'll do great. And hopefully we get the pet tonight. Let me just make sure our chat is working. That should be fine. There we go. Grambledorf will rise again. Okay. Let's get into it. So it has been confirmed by Mod Ash that in the group instance, only the MVP gets a pet roll. So I'm thinking private instances are where it's at. And this boss is extremely easy. You take virtually no damage if you're praying correctly. And even if you don't pray correctly, it's very forgiving. And you can flick your prayers on at the last second to save more prayer points. And remember to take advantage of the cheese in the corner, because all this cheese heals you to full health every 10 minutes. Gotta remember to have your imbued heart going, if you have one of those. And this is the part during the end of the fight where he just goes to the middle and does a bunch of this junk. And these rats are just a little bit annoying, but you can one-pick them like this. And that's the kill. Very quick. Very easy. We should be able to get the pet pretty quickly. Uh-oh. I was looking at something else. And he goes to eat the cheese. What are some gaming controversies going on right now? There's Pal World, and everyone's upset because they say it's ripping off Pokemon. But last time I checked, you can't kill and slaughter your Pokemon. So I'd say it's distinct enough. I've gotten so many rat spines from this guy, and they're useless to me because I'm already max combat. So there's really no point in continuing to kill this guy after I get the pet. Which pet drop rates have not been revealed yet, but I guess that'll just make us feel all the better once we do get the drop. Gray Mage. Dodge. Gray Range. Gray Mage. And this should be the kill. Could we get lucky on kill 300? Or 295 at the moment. Trapped. Not lucky. But I can get like 3 to 4 kills every time I use a imbued heart. So counting that out to being like kills an hour, I'm not sure how much that would come out to, but it's a very fast kill. Because you just don't miss. You have good enough gear, you just do not miss on this guy. I also tried for a little bit doing the group instance version of the boss, just solo, finding a world where there's nobody on it, and doing the group version of the boss solo, because I had an idea that maybe the pet was a little bit more common that way. I'm not sure, I don't think it is, but it was worth a shot for a couple of kills. But I think in the long run, this lower level version, because the group one has 1,500 HP, this one only has 500. So it's a much faster kill. And I think kills per hour is really what's going to get us the pet, rather than doing MVP on a group boss. These guys are annoying because they hit group rare. Here we go again. For more boss killing goodness. I think the hype for this boss really died down after its release, because the group worlds are much less populated, or the group instances are much less populated than they were on release, which is fine. But I am just gonna grind this out for the pet, because it's a dumb looking pet and I want it. Rune Square Shield. That's one of the better drops. I gotta be careful, because I did alk an anglerfish while I was doing this earlier. Which is not ideal, but, you know, well, it happens. I was drinking water, I didn't switch my prayer in time, I'm so bad. I'm so bad at this. Which is fine, it's a forgiving boss. Thrown protects melee, and then he goes to the middle, and he does his big roar. Get his minions out here. Usually he only summons the minions once, sometimes he summons them twice, sometimes he summons them not at all. So it's really a roll of the dice on whether or not you have to kill a bunch of those tiny rats. Miss me with that. You cannot hit me from the sky. Or the ceiling, I guess. This part of the Varrock sewers is bound to cave in if he keeps at it like this. Doot, 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 doot. I think he's gonna summon his little guys again. Right about now, unless he dies right about now. Yep. I knew it. And at least we got a shark out of it. Just want to keep that last inventory space open for alcohols. But let's see how big we can get this pile in the middle here. I got it up to like 30 kills at one point. There's just 30 pairs of big bones and raw rat meat right in the middle there. Mage. Range. Move. Melee. Doot, 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 doot. Giant rat, and then Scurrius. Mage. Dodge. Minions. Range. Mage. Dodge. Mage. And range to finish it off. And our divine super magic heart has gone away. But 300 kill count. We're well on our way to 1,000. And hopefully we get it before 1,000. That's our max hit with the magic staff, 52. I think the mace might have a higher max hit, but I like mage better. It's just a little more convenient. You don't have to run around as much to chase him down. And the bow is slightly lower max hit, but it attacks at a 3-tick speed, which is nice. Range, and that's the kill. For adamant arrows. There's nothing special on the drop table besides the pet, so... It's pretty consistent rune items, though. Rune items and arrows. And some runes. Let's, I don't know how many death runes I've got, but I think that stack of death runes is all from here. So, we might end up with a good number of death runes. And someone pointed this out on Reddit, but Scurrius drops the same... Scurrius drops Law Runes, Death Runes, and Chaos, which are the runes you need to cast Teleblock. That is not a coincidence. And if we examine, you're never more than 6 feet away from one. That's a reference, I think, to how many mice and rats there are in the world. Get smacked. Move. He's just shoving cheese in. I could drop a couple anglers for some more prayer pots just to make the trips last longer. But Scurrius also does drop prayer pots from time to time. So... is it really that difficult? No. And I don't mind using a couple of prayer pots. I have a bunch of Ranars in the bank that I could make some more prayer pots with if I need to. Don't feel like I need to. I have like 100 in the bank right now. Magic. I tried to watch a movie last night called The Banker. The Banker, the movie that came out in 2020. But I went onto Amazon Movies and like Prime Video, I think it is. And I looked up The Banker because that was the title of the film I wanted to see. And instead I found this like slasher movie from the 80s that was all about like a rich banker killing prostitutes, sort of like American Psycho. But I haven't seen American Psycho, but that same sort of idea, like a rich guy who's just going crazy and murdering a bunch of people. It was not what I expected. It was not really something that I wanted to see. I just put it on and I'm like, this is not the right movie. I don't know why I'm watching this. Anyway, how's everyone doing tonight? It's, this content should stem me over for a while. When I do get the pet, I think I'm gonna go back to Chambers of Zarek, just because I want to make enough money to get a bunch of buyables done. I think my next one I'm gonna do is smithing. Smithing seems like the logical next step. I have actually in my notes, I'm just gonna kill Scurrius so he doesn't spawn another set of ads. Scurrius Spine. That jingle always gets me. But Scurrius Spine is very common. Nothing really to write home about. I have in my notes here, I think I can pull it up. Yeah, if you see there on the side, I have my Inferno checklist, which is ideally the items I want before sending my first Inferno. I know if I was good, I could do it with the Bofa, and even the Virtus Robe top is the same DPS as a piece of Ancestral. But I want every advantage going into the Inferno. I want to just be able to do it, just send in, like, enough attempts to learn it, but I don't want to spend, like, months and months grinding it out. I want to have every advantage, just get it done ASAP. Once I have it. Once I'm ready to go. So I want to get a T-Bow, full Missouri, which I can just grind TOA for that. Although I hate TOA. I don't hate TOA. TOA is a fun raid, except for the monkey room. And if I could just get past that, if I could consistently get past the monkey room, then I would be grinding TOA basically whenever I don't have a team for Chambers. And Rune Battle Axe. But as you can see over in the side there, my current goals are 99 in everything. I'm getting close. I'm getting closer. So smithing, I can either do Giant's Foundry when I'm feeling like I don't want to spend a lot of money, but if I get the money for it and I have the all of the resources bought out, I can just get 99 smithing with Blast Furnace and Gold Ore, which is a pretty reasonable method, not super expensive. I think to get to 99 it's going to cost me 20 mil, so that's actually really cheap at the moment. And then crafting, I want to do just black dehyde bodies for that. That's going to be expensive, but whatever. Hunter and agility, I'm actually putting off for now because Jagex has mentioned those skills are getting reworked. Maybe a little tweaks here and there to make them a little more bearable, so I can same thing with thieving. Thieving is also getting a bit of a rework to make some of the higher level content more doable, because right now the best method for 99 thieving is Arty Knights. And Arty Knights are like a level 60, level 55 requirement. So definitely not intended to be the best training method out there. Woodcutting, easy. That's just forestry. Herblore, that's just another buyable. The ones that I'm dreading are mining, agility, because I heard horror stories about how agility is the worst skill to grind out to 99. Just because you have to be paying attention, and you're also doing something extremely repetitive, although you need to be paying attention the whole time, which I can understand how that's really annoying. But if it gets reworked and it's in a little bit of a better place, it might not be as bad. Thieving, I'm not worried about. Fishing is going to be slow, but that's AFK, so that's fine. Rune crafting, I know a lot of people don't like, but I like doing the blood rune crafting. I actually got a couple of levels recently for the blood rune crafting. But I think mining and fishing are going to be my slowest skills. Unless something drastic changes about mining, it's going to be my slowest skill. And there we go, full health. Let's just give it another 10 minutes and we'll be able to heal again. But mining, there's a couple of tick manipulation methods you could do. And I do want to go for the pet. So unless something changes to where, like, there's a better pet strategy, when I'm AFK, which I probably will be for a lot of the time, when I'm AFK, I'm just going to mine shooting stars. When I am actively skilling, I'm going to be at the gem mines, the Karamjit gem mines, because those have a pretty decent chance for the pet, pretty good. And they're relatively fast, especially if you are tick manipulating them. But that's the tick manipulation is a little too intense for me. I think the last thing I did it with was cooking to 99. The one tick Karambwans that I got through pretty quick. I got through in like 2 days for a 99. But I know that's one of the fastest skills to get all the way completed. Fletching, again, it's just viable. Let's alch the rune chain body. Drink a prayer dose. And keep going. Yeah, so that's sort of my path to maxing. And hopefully I can get it done by the end of the year. I do need to make a lot of GP for that, for all those viables. But I think just a couple of good splits from Chambers of Zarek, and we'll have all the money we need. I have gotten a lot more confident with setting Mage Hand and skipping. Skipping the specials has become sort of more intuitive to me, now that I actually know how Ulm works, and how you just sort of have to count to 2. Like, everyone says Hydra is the brain-dead boss because all you do is count to 3, but Ulm becomes pretty brain-dead once you realize you can just count to 2 and then skip a special. And of course, there's a guy outside revving his engine. I don't know why people enjoy just driving down a residential street and just being as loud as possible at this time of night. All hours of the day, you just hear I stopped bringing Entangle because Entangle doesn't really help here. But if we do get the pet, I will be very happy. That's what keeps me going here, is the thought that any one of these kills could be the pet. I've gotten spooned harder before. I've also gone way drier before, so... However it works out, it'll work out, but I think I'm gonna stay here till I get the pet. And just farm up some of these nice rune drops. I'm definitely not making a lot of profit here. If anything, we're just pretty much breaking even. With every, like, 4 kills, we get a rune item that probably pays for a couple of prayer disses. And then the other thing I gotta worry about is chaos runes for the magic staff. But it's chaos runes, they're cheap. And for hitting like a 52 in this gear, it's pretty decent. I know there's like more AFK ways to kill the boss, but I'm going for higher kills per hour. I don't mind being a little bit more focused for a better pet chance. Because I've seen people use Guthans and a Blood Fury, but that seems like a really cheesy and expensive way to get the pet. Cheesy, yeah, I know. Roast me about that one. But there's also, like, the blood barraging method, which would be way too expensive. So I feel like using chaos runes and a couple of prayer doses and maybe a few anglers is a lot more preferable than using thousands of blood runes. And here comes the boy. Hello, boy. You're dead. How independent do you think the rats on his back are? Because they only do one kind of attack at a time. They must all be at least partially mentally linked for them to have that amount of coordination. Got just a straight up coin drop. And let's see if I can eat from the food pile again. 3 minutes. Guess we're going to have an angler or two. What am I putting on piety? No reason for that. It's just the prayers are so close together, it's easy to activate them with a misclick. I know, like, fixed mode has way bigger icons and everything, but I think it looks ugly. And plus, I have the like, UI scaling plugin, and it's, like, 30% bigger. So it's slightly bigger, without, like, stretching it so large that everything looks really pixelated. Because, you know, as much as, like, oh yeah, the old graphics are charming, I think an ugly UI is really unappealing to me. I like the nice, simple, small UI, because at least it looks somewhat smooth. I wouldn't want big, jagged icons. That's 20 kills. And here he comes. Right about now. This soundtrack reminds me a lot of Dragon's Quest. I played a lot of Dragon's Quest when I was younger. That was like my main RPG I went to. I don't know how many people would remember this, but there was a spin-off game called Slime Quest, which was like a parody of itself, where you played as like the most basic enemy monster, a slime. Because Dragon's Quest has, despite like there being very different settings in a lot of the games and very different storylines, the one thing that's consistent through all of them is that the first enemy you run into is a little slime. And so you played as the slime enemy, and you ran a tank, and you shot special items at the other tank, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I lost it at one point, and I could never find it again. So maybe, and I don't encourage this, but there are websites where you can play. Sometimes it's like the only way to play some of this, like, lost media. Because they don't make or sell the cartridges for... they don't make or sell the cartridges for Slime Quest anymore, or a lot of those old DS games. I think the one that got me the worst, I had a copy of Pokemon Sapphire, and those old Pokemon games for the Game Boy, or Game Boy Advanced, I think I had, they had like a little internal battery, and when that battery ran out, you just couldn't play the game. Like, that was it. You're done. The game cartridge is ruined. I think I threw it at the floor at one point and then plugged it in, and it worked. It wasn't like out of rage. I was just like desperate and like, oh, okay, I've tried everything besides like opening it up and replacing the battery, because I didn't have the skill or the tools to open and try and like do electronic surgery on a Game Boy cartridge. I was getting desperate. I chucked it at the floor, and, you know, luck would have it, my old save came up, and I was able to play the game again. But a lot of hardware, especially older hardware, and especially hardware handled by kids, takes a lot of damage and can kind of crap out earlier than it was designed to. And you can see this really clearly with like Magic the Gathering, because the first run of cards for Magic the Gathering Alpha Edition, those cards are super expensive. Like, even the shitty cards from Alpha have a certain amount of value to them if they're in good condition, because there was no such thing as, like, card sleeve. I mean, I'm sure card sleeves existed, but kids who bought Magic the Gathering cards to play with their friends, they didn't use card sleeves. They were playing on, like, dirty lunch tables at their school, or, I mean, me and my friends when we played Magic the Gathering in middle school, we would play straight on the asphalt, on the ground. We would just bust out our decks, just raw dog our cards straight onto the ground. So those things got really beat up pretty fast. So imagine Alpha Edition, which came out in like 1990. Those cards, it's a miracle if you can find one that isn't beat so bad that you can barely read it. This is all a roundabout way of saying that I have a ROM of a ROM of a game that I purchased because I couldn't find hardware that worked, because all the hardware is just old and barely like clinging on to life. I had a GameCube that the internal motor on the disk drive broke, and so I would be playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and then every like couple minutes or so the game would just be like, cannot read the game data. And I figured out that if you just open the top of the GameCube and just spun the disc like with your hand and then closed it really fast, that would get the motor working again, and I could play for like another 5 minutes before I needed to do that again. And it picked up right where it left off. I mean, sometimes they do like digital re-releases for like the really popular games, but no one's going to make a digital re-release of like the very obscure, like those old Game Boy Batman games. It's we lose a lot of media just from people not archiving stuff. I mean, just go onto one of those like old MS-DOS websites, you'll find hundreds of games that like they could just have disappeared if they hadn't been archived. And some of them are really like quirky, interesting games. But I don't know. It feels like every day we lose so much data from stuff just not being archived. And even and this is a little bit more serious of a topic than just like video games getting lost or data getting lost, but there's if you look into like how many languages die every year, like there's languages. There used to be like thousands and thousands of languages, and every like region had its own dialect. But as things become more like interconnected and more globalized, people are sort of pushed towards learning like one of the big commonly spoken languages like Mandarin and English, French and German, like the Romance languages, or like I know India has like 20 to 50 officially recognized languages, but even there you're sort of forced into, not forced, but it really helps you in the like job marketplace to know one of the like very commonly spoken languages. So a lot of the time, like, you just lose languages that are sort of very localized or very specific to a region. Same thing happens with like indigenous languages of colonized places, where not by choice but by force, people are kind of forced to forget their native language in favor of whatever the people who colonized it prefer you to speak. It's kind of a heavy topic, but I think about that a lot, of like how much information and knowledge we lose every day. Because like we like to believe we're living in the information age and everything's available at your fingertips, but so much has been lost over time, and that's never going to change. No matter what, we're always going to be losing information. A good example of this is Greek plays. I'm a big theater guy. I'm a big theater nerd. And a fact that we know because of historical sources and writings about it is Greek dramas always came in trilogies. There would be 3 Greek dramas, all sort of using the same characters and sort of similar themes. It was sort of like a civic duty to go to the theater, because the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, like in Athens, they saw it as like a good way to educate the masses, is to have like these very serious dramas with like difficult moral questions played out on stage, so that like the audience could be informed about like, hey, this is a problem that we've identified and we need to talk about it, right? And using theater and entertainment as a way to tackle those like difficult moral questions, like Antigone. Antigone is a good example. This is me pulling out my nerd hat too, but Antigone is all about like, there's 2 brothers and they're at war because they both want control of their city, and both brothers die in a war, and the uncle, Creon, has to choose which brother gets like a prestigious royal funeral and which other brother is called a traitor and left out to die. And he does that to like keep the peace of the kingdom, to like say, okay, this side was right, and so we're just gonna move forward from here. But Antigone isn't thinking about it as like a head of state. She's thinking about it as like, hey, these are both my brothers, they both deserve a good funeral. And so she keeps trying to bury her brother, and Creon says, you can't bury the traitor. And so Creon has Antigone killed. And it's like, there's no real good option for getting out of that situation, but that's a moral question that the author thought was important to talk about. But that's all a roundabout way of saying that Greek tragedies came in 3s. They always came in trilogies. The problem is, there's only like 1 survive of the hundreds of plays that we have from the Greeks, of the ancient Greeks of that period. Only like 1 complete trilogy still exists. And it's like, these are some of the earliest and most revered pieces of writing that we like look to still today. And so many of them have just gone missing, and either were just destroyed with time, or forgotten about in some library and moths ate it, or Something like that. So it's not a new thing that, like, media and things that we enjoy get lost. That's always been happening. I just think it's a little bit more visible now just because of the sheer volume of stuff that we see disappear every day. And I'm sure it's also recency bias, because I'm sure the Greeks who lived during the period where all these plays were being produced, they also saw a lot of this stuff disappear, and we think that, like, we just have no idea how much actually went missing, because we don't even know it existed in the first place. Well, that's just my little rant about lost media, I guess. Dodge and shoot. And he's gonna summon his little buddies soon. Yep. I think I just power through it, get the kill, and then take care of the ads then. Hey, we got to 30 kills this trip. And just in time for the imbued hearts to run out. And throw on a protect melee and keep it going. He's really jumping around. Let's get to another music track. These guys I want to take out. There we go. And range. And range. And just keep on dodging. You had to get these guys out at the last possible second, didn't you? How many charges are in this? 11,000? Should be good for a little bit longer. We're using way more casts per kill than in a group, but better pet chance, so probably worth it. Maybe it's worth it, maybe not. I could look myself up on the high scores. Doop. Doop. I want to see if I have any virtual levels yet, because I've been max melee for a while now. Let me see. The boss is so easy I can look away from the screen. Oh my goodness. 101 attack, 104 strength, 100 defense, 107 range, and 103 magic. I mean, I knew I had plenty of XP, but that's quite a bit over what I thought I had. I'll eat a shark and an angler. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No. Getting kind of late. That's okay. I want to get to 400 kills before I end the stream, just to try my luck. Maybe I do like 100 to 200 kills every day, and eventually I'll get the pet. Well, go ahead, tail whip me all you want. Would this be the one? No.
He's creeping over, but I can sense it.
I did not mean to have that on full volume. I'm just opening up my phone because there's not much going on, and this boss is very easy, so I can look at stuff on my phone while I'm doing this. Go ahead, hit me with all your ranged attacks if you want. It won't do nothing to me. Also, the reason I want to use magic here is just because the saturated heart is... It's not free, it's like 100 mil, but it won't cost me as much in supplies, because it's reusable as much as you want. The only supplies I'm using are prayer pots and chaos runes and some anglers. I want to see. I'm just checking the wiki page to see if there's any updates on how the pet drop works. I'm sure it's like a 1 in 3,000. They usually are, something like that. Except for the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, which were a little bit more common depending on how long they took to kill. I think they were around like 2,500 to 2,000. Excuse me. Been sneezing a lot. Maybe it's just winter time. Things are drier out. Ugh. Get smacked, Scurrius. You are a small rat compared to my cheese stick. Coming in from melee, huh? Mage. Dodge. Adds. That was a good kill. For an adamant plate body. I did get a longbone from here. Let's look at our loot tracker. Scurrius, it says we've made about 2.3 mil from 328 kills. Yeah, got the sniffles. And the ads. Hey, don't hit me like that. Range. If I could click. Mage. Perfect time for that to run out. I do not want the super strength pots. I do want the cheese, though. Die, you big lug. Gonna get this pet any of these kills now. Could be any one of them. If it turns out that you have a better pet chance from getting MVPs on the big one, the 1500 HP, instead of the small one, 500 HP, then I might move over to that. But since that isn't confirmed yet, I'm just gonna stick it out here for a little bit longer. I should probably use that. Magic. Adds. Dodge. Range. Strong protect melee. And let's high out. Smack ya with the cheese stick. Magic. Dodge. I think I can take care of these guys here. Melee. One, two, three, 4, 5. And there we go. Nothing great. Angler and prayer? And now. Are we gonna get lucky on kill 333? We might do. Range. Adds. We can out DPS this heal. Mage. More ads, that's fine. Rune chain body, not bad. I don't want the super strength pot, I want the tuna. And this should be fine. Mage. Range. Range. Pray melee. Drink a sip of prayer potion. He goes to eat. How many lobsters did this guy drop? A lot of them, I guess. We've gone for 41 kills so far. Can we make it to 50? I doubt it. Not unless we get another prayer potion drop. But 40 kills per trip at any boss, besides this, and maybe like giant mole. That's a crazy number. I'm way over level for this content. But that's the fun about it, right? Is getting an ugly pet. Range. And the ads come out. Oh, I'm gonna grab one of those lobsters. If I can find them. Eat one of those. Magic. Magic. Range. Magic. The ads come out. Let's just put protect melee up. Click to range. Take those coins. 8,000 coins was pretty good. Sip the prayer potion. We're in melee and get after it. Range. Range. Magic. Melee. I'm doing loads of damage on this run. That was a quick kill. Pour some rune arrows. Right about now. And kill. Melee. And he goes to eat once more. Click to range. 4 seconds on the heart. The ads. And let's alch that. Dang old man. Stop driving by with your... It's annoying. So what can you do? Magic. Magic. More magic. Pray melee. And he goes to eat. Magic. Range. Range. Magic. Summons his friends. Click to range. Click to magic. To magic. And I think I'll call it a stream after this trip. We might actually make it to 50 kills per trip. I mean, at this pace, we only have 2 prayer sips left, but we only need 4 more kills, and I think we can do it. Melee pray. Flip to range. Summons his friends. Click to range. Back to melee. Range, melee. Compile that and pick a nicer song. Dodge. Take a sip of prayer. Click to magic. I want a cheese timer plugin so I know when I can use the cheese again. Something like the God Wars timer for restoring prayer, but instead for the cheese. I'm pretty sure I can eat the cheese here. Yeah, there we go. Some nice big hits would be nice. Slow on that. Scratching my itchy spot on my shoulder, and wasn't using my F keys. Melee, slow on that. Unfortunate. 88 health left. We can do that in a couple of hits. And I think this will be the last one for the stream, because I'm getting pretty sleepy. It's late for me. I'm sure it's late for everyone else. Let's just finish it off strong with, let's get a rune chain body, a spine, or the pet. Those are the 3 things. Or like a rune square shield, that would be nice as well. Just something that I could alch for a couple thousand. Let's dodge out of the way. Pray melee. Pray range. That's still a range attack. That's the magic attack. And there's the range. And how do you do, Mr. Rat? Or some Chaos Runes. But that's 50 kills in a single trip. Could do more if I brought more prayer potions. But I'm out of here for now. Alright, that's going to do it for the stream today. I know it was a bit of a short one, but thank you everybody who stopped by. Let me know when you think this pet will be mine, because I need more. I always need more pets. But thanks everybody for watching. Check out my other stuff if you're interested, and as always, have a wonderful rest of your